It's the whole time. Yeah. I roll with these lions, don't tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving they we just get back and we filling up. You are the gas, we be filling up. I roll with these lions, no tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving their brains up on the table. We just get back and we filling up. You nigga, we really don't trust. Coming live on the screen, they lie on the meme so far. Lie. Take a walk, then you shoot. One, that shit might be rude. You ain't even paying dues. How the fuck you think you prove shit? This don't make the news. Yeah, I keep on hearing about some be wanting that smoke. But every time I see that nigga keep saying he don't know, bitch, this gon' make it no. JJ set up that little show just so we can see him frog, croak, Neo, be on gold, that's for sure. Last time I seen the boy, he was copping deuces. Yeah, back up on the scene, but he was not with Rufus. I roll with these lions, no tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving their brains up on the table. We just get back and we filling up. You are the gas, we be filling up. I roll with these lions, no tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving their brains up on the table. We just get back and we filling up. You are the gas, we be filling up. Niggas be thinking they really want cloud. Soon as they hear my shit, they switching they style, they really too wild. I guess I'm really the shit, you niggas right here, you really a bitch. Ryan be up in this bitch, you really a bitch, so you jumping from click to click, don't make me blick of the blick. Green dots on the shit, we go hard, you don't want it. On my squad, you don't want it, y'all niggas ain't got no money, I'm sick. That BVS, you ain't got no feds, no. Diamond dash, brown and neck, put up in figs, niggas are fresh. Water dripping off me like a faucet, hoes just lost. Lions, that's my team, we live too awesome, call it boss. What you mean? I mean everything. You might call it flossing, shout out to Reggie Crib, my nigga. Up in Memphis, say I'm flouching. I roll with these lions, no tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving their brains up on the table. We just get back and we filling up. You are the gas, we be filling up. I roll with these lions, no tiger, no bears. What? That don't make shit fair. All these stacks up in the air. Most like keep a crispy pair. We not debaters, we terminators. Leaving their brains up on the table. We just get back and we filling up. You are the gas, we be filling up. I hope you know, in the 2023, we got to do it like some motherfucking balls.
Got the meal love for Stockton. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the Lions is in the building. I thought you knew. Yeah. All right, man. One more for Nia. One more. Then we'll get this started.
I want you and that young man to tie that knot.
I'm gonna pray
for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand because He helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho.
It's the old
Daniel get out the line. He helped get off the island.
Let me get straight to the business. Yeah. Got the lions in the building. Yeah. Why you lying to your children? Yeah. Why you lying to your children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been the bed. Man, they know contest. Yahoo, he do the best. We will not see you tomorrow. Cause you cannot go to daughter. All the sons and all the daughters. Starting all with big man daughters. But my son, he made me Taurus. On that line, I'm still a Taurus. Karate kicking Chuck Norris 4-5 on my waist. If he started, would not hesitate to get retarded. Oh Lordy, he ain't got a PowerPoint, he farted. He's running to the hills like a Philistine. G-Hawk hitting hamites with the guillotine. Situation turned up with the ratchet team. JJ 7000 to the debate me. I know them haters gon' hate me, but he won't debate me. Pistol off something. He respond, come wake me. If I don't get up, nigga shake me. Really get me up. If he don't show up, then he fake G. I touch down and make these nigga nuts hate me. Dear brother. Balling and crawling all the way from H-Time. Let me get straight to the business. Man, them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Why you lying to them children? You gon' cry, you gon' get it. Me, I'm like a frog, nigga, ribbit. Of course, it's in the spirit. I just got the Porsche, she can steer it. Michael got the raw, Shaq and Willie. Lamborghini doors, you better not spill it. Mama's high, say I'm more than just a villain. Mama's cry, I'm dope and wide for her children. Suicide, immortalized as a realist, yeah. Death by kind, black suicide. Let me get straight to the business. Got them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I be yeah. Man, they know they no contest. Yeah. Yahoo, yeah. Wow, what's that? Why didn't they take it over? Number one debate league, you heard me? When it's up, it's stuck. I'm selling all everything, nigga. Metaphorically, of course.
Hold up, man. I'm sitting here talking. That's right. Welcome to the Lions Den. I don't even know if y'all can hear the song, man. But anyway, welcome to the Lions Den. My name is JJ 7000, the most feared debater on this goddamn planet. Sit your ass down, because I know you can't stand it. That's right. I'm still on my victory tour, man. You know what I'm saying? I just slapped Corey Takuchi Dawson around, Takuchi Dawson. He still, his coochie still hurt. He's still running around crying, talking about somebody rigged the debate. Every time this nigga loses, the debate's rigged. The only time the debate go right is when he wins. Then each panel is the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I'm saying? This guy got to stop this, man. Well, shout out to Shaka Oakley from Chi-Town. My fellow Illinois in the building, So kiss the ring, nigga. This is what I tell you. These punks punks jump up to get beat down. You hear me? Hey, Chief X failed. Takori failed. Hey, Tazariak failed. Polite. I beat them all. God damn it. Black Jesus failed to the sword of the most feared debater on this goddamn planet. They all mad. They scrambling and scraping, trying to figure out a plan, what to do with the HOK GOAT, greatest of all time. You hear me? Hey, none of y'all will ever be able to take that away from me. God damn it. Yeah, man. Now I got another chump trying to jump up. All he gonna do is get beat down. I'm talking about this anonymous. What's his name? Anonymous guy. He won't even turn on the goddamn camera. You hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Hey, he hid from shame already, even before the goddamn debate started. That's right, me. You know what I'm saying? I got Nepal over there. She running, scrambling, and scraping. How you gonna call me out there when I show up like Candy, man? You tell me, I want to debate Cuba or Lex. That's right. You better make a good business decision. It's like Michael Henry running down the field and saying you weigh 185 pounds. It's a business decision to let him keep going. You hear me, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. Come on into the Lions Den, man. Shout out to goddamn the Barbarians, Naga World Order, Tashaka, Indigenous Black Man, Apollo Bay. You know what I'm saying? And the rest of the crew. You know who he is. Sister Honey. You know who he is, man. Shit. Anyway, man, I ain't got too much time. I just want to show y'all why Anon will lose this debate. So let's get to the meat and potatoes, man. Shit. Hold up. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, man. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, man. Yeah, I don't know why these people running up on these good. I don't know why y'all running up on these good people, man. Shit, don't you know? Didn't you see what happened to the rest of the fellas? You know, goddamn. I mean, it's like a scientific experiment. If you see something happen over and over again, then it must be true. You know, come on, man. Oh man, okay. Let's get to the meat potatoes. I gotta go see my therapist here. You know, in that 7:30. Let's see what we got going, man. All right. Now this is him and I are having a debate. Was the biblical Exodus fabricated? It never happened, but according to Dr. Maggie Bryson. You know, we gonna let this sister tell it how it is, man. I'm gonna let the video rock and roll. Hey, now I'm giving you something right now. That way, that gives you a chance to make a good business decision, and that is to bow down and bow to the debate. So I don't know why y'all rushing up here trying to get go debate this Saturday. I don't know what this guy's problem is. Cockeye Sugar Bear. That's the name that's been deemed upon you by the other people in the community. So unconscious Suge Knight, but Cockeye Sugar Bear, you in some trouble. So they're talking about the Greeks didn't influence the New Testament. Goddamn it, Paul went word for word for some of these goddamn scholars from Plato to Aristotle, Socrates, and all these old Greek freaks. And you got the nerd talking about the Bible wasn't influenced by no Greek, man. What are you talking about? You in some trouble, Jack. That's all I can tell you. Old Cockeye Sugar Bear sitting up here acting like he got the keys to the debate. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Macadocious Tip? I see you in the building. Yeah, man. Okay. But yeah, so, I ain't got too much time to really get into the shenanigans of these characters in the community. Sonetta called me the other day, man. I guess we're going to work it out, man, because, Sonetta's about the debates, man. He ain't about all this nonsense, man. He don't really believe this black woman God nonsense. He don't believe that crap in the pot. You going to have to get your act together. Yeah, Takuchi, you... shit. I'll tell you, boy, yeah, to Corey Takuchi down, so sit down somewhere, run around here, talk about everybody that, cheated you. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Hey, Queen. Hey, good morning, Queen. How you doing, baby? You all right? All right, hold on. Let me start the video, baby. Then I'm gonna chop it up with my queen real quick, man. She called to check on her king, make sure he all right. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I'm breathing. Okay, hold on, queen. Let me start this information for the audience. Hold up, baby. Let me see. All right, here we go. The Exodus never happened by Dr. Margie Bryson. Now you in some trouble, bro. You in some trouble. That's all I got to tell you. Here we go. Let me see. Oh, hold up. Just a little educational video for the guys, so they don't get up here and embarrass themselves during the debate. Hold up. Hold up, man.
Listen, there's a good chance somebody's right now. Okay. You got to make sure you're covered.
All right. Let's start from the beginning here. All right, and this is very informative information that Anon need to know before he step in the ring with the most.
And today we'll be discussing the Exodus. Is it based on any sort of historical fact, or is it entirely
just fabricated? They made that up in my Google Scholar voice. Here we go.
Myth, top to bottom. So thank you for joining me today, Maggie Bryson.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Jacob.
Thank you for joining me. Is there any evidence at all for a historical Exodus?
Straight to the point. I like that. The problem I have, so I don't think it's a bad question. I think it's a good question. But the problem that I have with framing it that way is that you have to set up what you mean by an exodus. If you are talking about a biblical literalist exodus, if you are, I mean, just in the pure plain sense of the text, then the answer is no. The idea that hundreds of thousands, millions of people could have left Egypt in one event, basically in a single night.
Look. Ain't now, goddamn well no hundreds of millions of people left no eat. Where the bones at in the Red Sea? That's what you gonna have a problem proving that, man. I mean, you just made it up, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with these people. Look at it.
And then spent the next 40 years traveling together as an organized group, eventually invading Canaan, again, all at one sort of single historical moment, is not supported by the evidence, nor is the idea, and this is even more important, I think, to get out right up front, that there was a people resident in Egypt who would have thought of themselves as a unified people, called themselves Israelites even, right? Because by the time the Israelites are in Egypt in the Bible, they are Israelites, right? Their patriarch is called Israel. There's no evidence for that either. And the things that are the hallmarks of Israelite society, right? The shared identity, the shared sort of tribal identity, if you will, the set of religious laws, and what ultimately becomes a monotheistic faith are not present in Canaanite populations in Egypt, to the best of anyone's ability to tell, sort of from any of the evidence that's available to us. So that's the sort of long/short answer to that question.
Is there any evidence of ancient Israelites in ancient Egypt at all?
Again, it depends very much on what you mean by Israelites. The idea that people who contributed in some way to the development of what becomes the historical Israel, either the kingdom, so the nation state, or the people, the ethnic group, that the ancestors of this component of what becomes Israel could have been in Egypt at some point is not at all out of the question. There were people from the Eastern Mediterranean region, from Syria, Palestine, what is now the state of Israel, Lebanon, all the way down into the Negev desert. There are people from those regions, and also the desert regions, sort of the western part of the Arabian Peninsula, and the eastern part of the Egyptian desert. People from all of those kind of peripheral regions moved in and out of Egypt over the course of, many hundreds of years, thousands of years even. So there are people from the Near East going to Egypt, and the people were, in some instances, enslaved in Egypt. In other instances, they served very high positions in the Egyptian government. There was a vizier in the reign of Amenhotep III, whose name seems to have been Abdi El, right, the servant of the god El. He seems to have been of Canaanite ancestry, to the extent that it's actually, commemorated in his name. But were these people Israelites? That's the problem, right? Abdi El was buried in an Egyptian tomb in the Egyptian style, with references to the Egyptian gods all over the walls, right? There is no indication that there was anything distinctive about his religious views from the ancient perspective, right? They're all living in a world where, your name might, be a theophoric, right? A name that uses the name of a god, a theophoric El name, but that doesn't bar you from, acknowledging or even worshiping other gods, which is very much out of keeping with how we understand this sort of core of Israelite identity. There's no indication. The word Israel is not used, with respect to anyone before, at the very earliest, sometime in the 18th dynasty. And certainly, right, the reign of Merneptah, sometime around 1200 BCE, is the first time we hear about any called Israel. They're in Canaan at that point. So if you want to look for evidence of the Exodus, you have to set up what you mean by the Exodus. If you want to look for evidence of Israelites in Egypt, you have to set up what you mean by Israelites. And again, in the plain sense of the biblical text, in the plain sense of the term, right, how we understand, what we understand an Israelite to be, that evidence is just not there.
So, in other words, regardless of how one sets up what they mean by Israelites or the Exodus, it's very complicated and it's difficult to find evidence whatsoever, regardless of how one describes either of them.
Well, if what you want an Israelite to be, right? If you are content to think of the Exodus as something that could be in some ways like what's described in the Hebrew Bible, but isn't exactly that. So like there are Egyptian papyri that talk about people escaping past checkpoints and back into the desert. So back, they escape to the east, they escape back toward Canaan through checkpoints in the desert. And in some ways that might recall, right? They're in Egypt, either, enslaved or in some way, restricted in their movements. And they get loose and they head back toward, the Levant. If you're okay with that, if you're okay with the Exodus story in the Hebrew Bible being a kind of elaboration, being a collection of a lot of different small scale events that happened over the course of a long period of time, if you're okay with that, then yes, you could say, right, that there are reflections in the Egyptian record of what comes to be the tradition of the Exodus. But if it's important to you to believe that there was a unified people who would have called themselves the sons of Israel, or in some way identified as descendants of a patriarch Israel, ultimately a patriarch Abram, that they were living in Egypt at a single point in time, that they all came from the same place, they all had the same origins, they all went to the same place after they left Egypt. If that's important to you, then no, there isn't support in the Egyptian record for that. Because people, I find, tend to be kind of inconsistent. Even the same person, right, can be very inconsistent in what constitutes evidence for the Exodus for them. Because how they're thinking about the Exodus isn't necessarily really focused. It's not necessarily a developed picture. They haven't necessarily thought through all of the different things that would have to be true in order for any given piece of evidence to support or not support the event that they're looking for. And I've heard people who describe themselves as biblical fundamentalists or even biblical literalists say that they're okay with some compromises in terms of how you reconstruct, of what the actual historical event they're looking for would be. So for instance, if you add up the numbers, right, what's the date of the Exodus? What do you know? When did the Exodus happen?
Well, according to the Book of Kings, it tries to say it's 1446 BCE if one takes that seriously. Right.
So if you add up the numbers in the sort of historical books, right, and from starting in Exodus and into the Deuteronomistic history, you wind up with a date around 1450 BCE. Conservatively, right? It depends on the length of the period when Israel was ruled by judges. For example, right? There isn't a number for the length of time of the period of the judges, but a conservative estimate would be somewhere around 1450 BCE. Hoffmeyer has actually come up with an even earlier date, but by sort of doing a good year count. Exactly, right?
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Okay, there you go. Was the Exodus fabricated? The biblical Exodus, y'all.
That number.
Look. These guys, they got. Oh, wait. Hold up. What the hell's going on? I need to see the audience real quick. Where y'all at? Oh, man, what the hell's going on? All right. Oh, there y'all go. Yeah, man. like I say, man, Anon, you ain't got a snowball's chance in hell. You hear me, brother? You ain't got a snowball's chance in hell with this debate. You know, I'm walking them all down, y'all. These guys want to jump up. Punks jump up to get beat down. Y'all know what it is, man. The most feared debater on this goddamn planet. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, man. The channel growing, man. You're getting informative information. You know, you're getting entertained. Yeah. I seen you on your day with some laughs and some smiles. See, some of these other people just ain't got that type of charisma, man. They just want to downplay people all the time and act like we supposed to just worship them. You know who I'm talking about. You know, hey, look at my nephew. The Exodus is just as real as Batman fighting the Green Goblin and Goblins. They're right, man. What the hell wrong with these characters, man? Shit. Let's keep going, man. Hey, Kaya, ain't this the lady that came on Garfield platform one time? She sure looked familiar. It might be her. Let's keep going. Yeah, Batman and the Green Goblin. This is Batman and the Green Goblin nonsense, man. This is like Garfield. This is autonomous ancestors. Let's keep going, man. Shout out to Garfield. Yeah, 1 point. You gotta stop. Look. You see, I'm bringing doctors to the damn table. What you gonna bring? Man? You gonna bring some of that Google Scholar nonsense that you're getting from goddamn Cockeye Sugar Bear? Yeah, I know who Cockeye Sugar Bear. That's Elder Yara. Cockeye Sugar Bear. Let's go. Now look at that. See, you're gonna have to deal with that in the debate. Hey, look, they moving sliders, y'all. They scrambling and scraping. Oh, wait a minute. Y'all can't hear me? No. Wait a minute. Y'all can't hear me? All right, hold up. Hold up. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? What the hell's going on? Let me see what's going on, man. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see. Can y'all hear? Oh, man. Can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. All right. There we go. All right, let's get back to it, man. Shout out to Comic Views, Terrence Comic. Hey, brother, hit that subscribe button, man. Look like you're new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Now let's get back to the meat and potatoes, man. Hey, now you ain't got a chance in this debate, brother. You shouldn't cash what they say. You shouldn't cash. Write a check your ass can't cash or some shit like that. Yeah. Hey, let's get back to it, man. Hold up. I mean, these guys' egos get them beat up. You know, you see Takuchi Dawson, he's still over there crying, talking about something that rigged the debate. I mean, how come every time this character loses, it's a rigging? I just don't get it, man. Okay, hold up. Here we go. Let's get back to it, y'all. Let's get back to the education. You know, at one point and one time, I actually was a Hebrew Israelite. I actually believed in this nonsense. You know,
and then much later, in the period of the monarchy, the Israelites, in a historical period for which we do have very solid evidence, are interacting with, tangling with the Egyptians. Bronze Age, to some degree, right? Depending on the period, right? The earlier you go, or the sort of at the early end or the late end, you're not dealing with a systematic kind of colonization. But in the New Kingdom period, the time when the Exodus is set, either the early date or the late date of the Exodus is set, Egypt has permanent garrisons, or at least long-term military garrisons in territory that later comes to be a part of this Israelite state. So, there's extended back and forth contact, sometimes friendly and sometimes conflictual between from the Levant, including what becomes Israel. And the Hyksos episode is a big part of that, right? This is a period when people from Syria, Palestine are ruling Egypt. People whose ancestors are from that region and who still maintain an identity rooted in that region are ruling Egypt. So, and of course, right, we have the Joseph story. We have this, and this idea, right, that's built into the Exodus narrative. Egyptians were threatened by the Israelites because they were becoming so numerous, they were becoming so successful, and so they had to.
Wait! Y'all can't hear it now? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear the presentation. That's the most important part. Okay, good. Shout out to Sister Latoya, my. All right, let's get back to the meat and potatoes, man. Anon, you in some trouble, bro. I mean, don't come up here with just that dang on 2013 scholarship. You already run around. According to Deuteronomy, we Israelites can't prove no bloodline, nothing. Then most of them hate Africa anyway. I don't get that part. We come from the door of no return. So, I mean, you at least got to kind of connect to that. If you're going to say you're some kind of Israelite, I mean, well, how is it connecting to y'all if you hate Africa, knowing goddamn well that we came over here on ships? I mean, hey, Kaya, where do they find these guys? That man,
in some way, control them, demean them, right, break them down to prevent them from being a threat. So the idea that the Hyksos period, the Hyksos episode, could be part of that memory is not far-fetched at all. I mean, I think. But if you wanted to say, could the Hyksos episode have been the Exodus that is described in the book of Exodus, there I would have to stop you and say, I don't see how. Again, there is no indication that the Hyksos considered themselves something like the Israelites, right? Something like the cohesive, and tribal.
The Hyksos ain't even claiming y'all, but they ain't trying to fool with y'all about the Israelites. Man, come on, man, get y'all act together. Let's go. I'm tired of you Israelites. Y'all done pissed me off.
Cohesive, right? That the Hyksos would have trace their ancestry back to a single patriarch or to a group of patriarchs.
You can't trace no history to a single patriarch. Man. Yeah, you made it up in my Google Scholar voice. Let's go.
Patriarchs, that they were even notionally committed to a religion, a special relationship with a single God. The way that the Israel,
not a twiddle, nothing. Talking about one religion. I mean, come on, man. Google. I mean, what's your name? Anonymous Hebrew, the dude that don't show your face. You in some trouble. See, look, when we said the debate, he said, "Well, I ain't gonna show my face." Well, if I was you, I wouldn't either. Coming up here with this goddamn pseudo information, man. I would hide my face up under the sand like an ostrich if I was you.
Israelites are just.
Uh-oh. This is how I'm bombing on you. This is how I'm bombing on you.
Boom. There's no indication. Ultimately that they all arrived as part of a single process in Egypt, although
goddamn well they ain't all arrived. You can't find a bone in the goddamn the Sea of Reeds, the Red Sea, none of that. Where the bones at, y'all? See, this story just don't make any sense. This is why I had to come to the realization that these stories are allegories and metaphors, and esoteric thinkings, and have a life type of a lesson for you guys. There wasn't no rib taken out, and Esau and Jacob meant material world versus spiritual world. You gotta look at that. See, the book could be some good, but you got to look at it in a different point of view, a different perspective, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's wrong with these guys.
Recent studies are recent studies are kind of showing that it seems to have been a more gradual infiltration through, at least in part, sort of trade type relationships, intermarriage, a more, it's not that a single family was kidnapped and brought there, and that's what established the Hyksos presence. It's and in fact, right?
You guys claiming to be Hyksos? I mean, what the hell's going on? Let me know, hey, now before you even get into this debate. I mean,
the Hyksos are driven out. It's not that they are
else history. Yeah, we Hyksos, we Hiskolites. That's what you now they want to be Hiskolites, y'all. I mean, this is getting out of hand.
An enslaved group. It's that they are military leaders, right? They're effectively ruling the country at that time. The picture isn't a perfect match, but the idea that it could be part of some memory of the time when Israelites were numerous and powerful and the Egyptians felt threatened is not at all out of the question. And it's really instructive, I think, to think about that.
So now, if the Hyksos, they're saying that they ruled Egypt and all that type of stuff. When did the Israelites rule Egypt? So you can't cling on to the Hyksos. Don't even come to the debate with that type of nonsense. Or you're gonna get slapped around more than what I'm gonna do to you anyway. Don't do it. You're gonna hide your face up under the sand somewhere like you're already doing now. He don't want to show his face. Secret agent, man.
But the thing is, it's not the only time things like that happened either. There seems to have been conflict within Egypt with people in that area of Avaris. So, like the reign of Amenhotep II is a famous period, right? There is a period where Avaris, and based on his royal inscriptions, and there is this in the city of Avaris is temporarily uninhabited.
Yeah, look at that.
In that later Thutmose period. So, do we have?
Come on, y'all. We got 24 in the building, man. Come on, man. Hit that like, man. We got to get this in the algorithms. Come on, y'all.
A perfect match? No. Is it possible that there's some component of memory there? Yes. Would be my response to that question.
What are your thoughts on Manifu's version of the Exodus story?
And again, if people have thought this through, reading Manetho, when we talk about reading Manetho, we're talking mostly about the account we have of what he said, given by Flavius Josephus and Contra Appionum, even there, you have to ask which Exodus, because Josephus actually is dealing with the same. Josephus has a similar picture to the one we have, and Josephus notes in Contra Appionum, right, that Manetho describes the
Hiskalites. Are you guys Hiskalites?
Later describes another event in the 18th dynasty, right, some time down the road, where the Egyptians come into conflict with a group of people and drive them out of Egypt into Syria, Palestine, into Canaan. And Josephus is saying Manetho got it wrong. He picked the wrong Exodus.
Yeah, look at that.
If you take a look at Against Apion, you'll see, right? Josephus talks about the Hyksos event, and Josephus says, I think that's what the Exodus was. I'm almost positive. His explanation is that Moses lived in the time of the Hyksos, that he gloriously led his people out of Egypt, in that historical context. And in a way, right, when you think about it, it's more flattering to the Jewish people of Josephus's time to think of their ancestors in Egypt as having, first of all, been native to Canaan originally, having come to Egypt, having risen to prominence enough to the point that they were ruling the country, and then having been forced back by these, rebellious Egyptian subjects who felt threatened, who felt jealous, ultimately. That's a more flattering picture of the origins of the Jewish people. The later episode, the Osarsev myth, the story that Egyptian lepers, and outcasts banded together and were, and rebelled against the Egyptians, from the city.
I mean, it just don't add up, because y'all talking about the 600,000 to 1 million people supposedly left. Now, keep in mind, only 70 of them went into Egypt. And I guess over 400 years, they became millions of people. I don't know. So where's the bones at, man? With the Pharaoh and all his crews got drowned in the Red Sea or Reeves, or the Red Sea. Where is this at? Hey, now you gonna have to bring some kind of historical, archaeological proof that this even happened, sir. You're not gonna be able to do it.
Driven out. It is a much less flattering picture, and Josephus points out that fact, and he basically is accusing Manetho of anti-Semitism.
Look at that.
Because the episode that Manetho was looking to as the roots of the Exodus, as the roots of the origin of Israel in Canaan via Egypt, is this unflattering picture of lepers and outcasts and rebellious paupers, as opposed to these kind of noble conquerors, who bootstrapped their way to rule the country.
Okay, so they say that Hyksos was ruling Egypt. They got driven out. Hey, now, are you talking about that Exodus when they got driven out? Because those are not Israelites, brother. Just foreigners. That's all Hyksos made, foreigners to the land. I mean, you in some trouble, man. You in some trouble.
And so it's
about these guys that I debate. You ever know they want to hide the information? Don't say nothing before the debate, man. I want to shock the world, bro. I'm gonna show you my information before the debate, after the debate. Excuse me, before the debate, during the debate, after the debate, because you can't beat it no other way. You can't beat it before, you can't beat it during, and you can't beat it after. So what's the point of hiding? Like you hiding your face. I ain't showing my face in the debate, man. Is you crazy? I guess if you coming up with this pseudo information, I wouldn't show my face neither, man. Shit.
Absolutely fascinating account, because another thing that it reveals is that even in the 1st century CE, when Josephus is writing, people wanted to know, was the Exodus real? And if so, when did it happen?
Yeah.
They wanted to know where the Jewish people came from.
Where the Jewish people come from.
I think that, and this is just my sense, having looked at the preserved parts of Manetho and Josephus's account of them, things like that, there seems to be some unclarity in the Egyptian records for the 18th dynasty. And it's funny because Josephus actually calls out, so the King Horus, right, that's one of the characters in the leper story, the Osarseph story. Josephus says, Manetho made him up. He's fictitious. He's out of place in the historical sequence. The chronology is wrong. There's no other indication that he was real. And that fact alone shows me that they, even at that time, they had a kind of difficult time sorting out the Egyptian evidence and figuring out how to relate it to the origin story of Israel.
Look at that.
In terms of, I mean,
they're mixing and matching, scrambling and scraping. You know, knowing the story ain't true. No, they're faking. You hear me, y'all? They ain't got you ain't got a chance, brother. I don't know why these guys come messing with these good people over here in the Lions Den, man. Shit. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them, Lions Den? What's wrong with these guys, man?
You know, Josephus reading against Apion sounds a whole lot like engaging in a modern discussion of the historicity of the Exodus in many ways. We had people, you know, who were Jewish and observant and traditionally educated come to me and say, when you say that the Exodus didn't happen, regardless of what you intend it to sound like, it sounds to me a little bit like Holocaust denialism, because the Exodus is so important to Jewish identity. I've actually had a young person say that to me, and I thought it was a really interesting and important observation, because they weren't accusing me of anti-Semitism in a pointed way. But I can see where scholars coming on and really just hammering home this point, the Exodus isn't real, it never happened, there's not a shred of evidence, and just, you know, dwelling on that point.
Not a shred of evidence. And you won't get in front of the camera trying to convince people that this goddamn fairy tale happened. I mean, yeah, I got to cut this out, man.
Over and over again could come across as a little bit hostile.
Now look at that.
Toward the Jewish people, right? To people who identify as, you know, who to whom Judaism is so,
Jewish people are always complaining. You anti-Semitic. I mean, shut up.
So important as a part of their identity, just because, right? There is that other history there. You know, and again, Josephus is
show them that there's another history there, and the first thing to come out is anti-Semitic. I mean, y'all gotta cut this out, man. Come on.
Saying the same thing. He's saying other people are trying to tell me what my Jewish history should be.
And then these ain't even the black so-called Jewish folks. They fight more harder than you Negroes, man. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Not a damn thing. Nothing.
They're trying to tell me what my origins are as a Jew. I don't think they're right.
My brothers and sisters, don't get me wrong, man, but y'all, you know, you can't be coming in front of us with this nonsense, man. You know, get your act together.
And I think they're hostile in doing so.
Running around hostile.
So it's a really fascinating read. If you go into against Apion.
Hell, you're hostile for because you're getting exposed.
You know, but again, you know, I think Josephus commits the same error that a lot of modern people do, a lot of modern historians.
Running around here committing errors.
Or sort of interest, you know, historically, people who are interested in history commit in trying
to Dr. Maggie. Go on, girl.
Pin something down that you can't really pin.
You
know, for him, it was the Hyksos. He was like, that has to be it. The data all line up.
Man, talking about the Hyksos. That's the only evidence they got. And there's no proof that no Israelites ruled Egypt. So that's why they're going to have a problem. You don't try to tie yourself to no Hyksos. Don't do it. Let me see what the people say.
But again, I don't think they line up perfectly. I don't think. I think
it's a bad lining. You see, like Stephen A. Smith hairline. Come on, man. Get your act together.
That would have been evident even in Josephus's time, or it would have been a point that you could have made even in Josephus's time with the evidence available. It's just that in Josephus's time, I don't mean to cut you off. Did you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Even in Josephus's time, when I say even in Josephus's time, in his time, it seems too that there were other Exodus stories circulating. So Josephus certainly knew the book of Exodus as we know it. He knew the Exodus story. But in his history of the Jews, Josephus talks about sort of events or episodes in Moses' life that aren't in the book of Exodus.
I see.
You know, like Moses leads, like he gets engaged in military conflict with the Ethiopians. He takes an Ethiopian wife, right? And by this we mean Nubian, right? It's presumably someone from the Sudan, modern day Sudan.
How do you take 20,000 children in the middle of New York City without anybody seeing?
Moses all in Ethiopia.
And
Moses all in Ethiopia trying to get him some black cat. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Moses.
Josephus does not mention in his history, his account of the Exodus, the episode, for instance, of the murder of the Egyptian, and, you know, and Moses going on the lam in Midian. So there seem to have been, and notably, and another thing that's really interesting
to Midian eating lamb.
Note is that Josephus often describes, sort of talks about how the Israelites left Egypt and went into Judea and established the city of Jerusalem. And later, right, and a lot of Hellenistic, or at least a couple of Hellenistic historians, attributed the founding of the city of Jerusalem to Moses.
Oh, come on.
Right, taking.
You see what I'm talking about? This is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Now Moses was the founder of Jerusalem. He did create it. Then you go a little bit further in the beginning of your book. God damn it, Abraham was all in goddamn on Jerusalem, giving tithes to the tithes and offerings to Melchizedek, the Canaanite priest of El. Now let that sink in. See what I'm talking about?
It is kind of the next episode in the journey out of Egypt after the Exodus.
Now who Jerusalem is supposed to have already been around before Moses, man. See, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. I can't deal with it, man.
Exodus.
I can't.
Even in the book of Kings, right? Even the Hebrew Bible itself doesn't, you know, has already dispensed with that notion in the version we have, right? You know, Jerusalem is a Jebusite city, and it doesn't become incorporated into Israelite territory until the reign of David. So the Hellenistic period is a period when the canon is just becoming fixed, and there are still a lot of traditions, a lot of stories, possibly even in written form, that are not accessible to us, that would have informed Josephus' picture of the Exodus. Is the sense that I get, at least.
What do you make of the claim that the Shazu of Yah are Israelites?
Uh-oh.
This is another one. Right, so the Shasu of Yahoo, right, the people that you're talking about are a group of desert nomads that the Egyptians interacted with in the New Kingdom period, and they're known primarily from the Amenhotep III temple, a couple of Amenhotep III temples in Nubia. And all we have about them in those temples is their name. They're called the Shasu of Yah, or Yahoo. Which seems to be a place.
Now they want to be the Shashu of Yah, man. Y'all just trying to look. Now y'all just stealing everybody's stuff, man. Come on, man. Now they want to be the Shashu. Then they want to be the Hyksos. You know. Then they want the Negroes. I mean, which one is it, y'all? Come on, man.
So they are Shasu, that is desert nomads from a place.
And desert nomads.
Place. You know, and again, the Shasu are usually from that eastern desert, you know, up into.
And when none of these Negroes been to a desert.
Canaan sort of geographic continuum. So the Shasu of Yah, or Yahoo, are a group of people who, the term Yah, right, we just don't know, right? Because obviously the word Yah, it's so suggestive that in this period that's supposed to be, according to the Hebrew Bible, formative for Israel, right, in the very period when God's name is revealed to Moses as Yahweh. And right, because of course that's the sort of big thing that happens. One of the big things that happens to Moses before the Exodus is when he, you know, what comes out of that burning bush is the true identity of God as Yahweh. The idea that there could
ain't no bush spoke to y'all, man. You see, this is what I'm talking about. Now, if you sit up here and believe this nonsense, then you got a damn problem. Go burn a bush right now and see what it say to you. I mean, come on, man. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. Then where ain't no bush spoke to you. You run around here in 2024 talking about a burning bush spoke to Moses. You see the elementary type of scholarship we deal with.
There have been a group of people in the Eastern Desert, right, who identified themselves as being from, or who
Moses got him a little butter perm right here. Go on, Moses.
Could be described as being from Yah or of Yah.
She's draped there. Look, Moses draped right here, boy. Look at them waves.
It's hugely compelling on its face.
No, they don't even respect you, Negroes. Like, look, did this look like you? I mean, come on.
And I think it's really interesting. And again, I think there could be some kernel of historical truth there. There could be some, right? Because Moses goes to Midian, right, in the northern part of the Arabian desert. You know, after
pissed me off,
he finds out, or when he finds out the name of God, right? He's in northern Arabia. You know, he's in something that you might be able to characterize as Shasu land. And when he finds out that name,
and now Moses all in northern Arabia somewhere. But Moses is a freak. I mean, y'all all in Ethiopia trying to get him some black cat. Now y'all over in northern Arabia. I mean, sit down somewhere, Moses. Look at him. Got his head done for when he went over to Saudi Arabia. Though, you see them waves. Moses ain't playing.
Of God as Yahweh. So, is there some way in which Egypt acted as a crucible for different groups of people? Right, a group of people who are known by the time of Merneptah as Israel, a group of people who live in a place, perhaps called, right? Is Yah the God of this place where these Shasu originate? Is there some way in which the fact that Egypt is a place where people go for refuge, they go there, sometimes they're taken there against their will, right? So a lot of times nomads would, the idea that nomads would come to the Nile Valley to water their animals, right? In times when there was drought.
Hey, Moses was high as hell. See, that's a metaphor, y'all. That ain't no bush smoke to Moses. Moses was smoking some of that good kush. You see, he went over to Ethiopia and got some of that good kush weed. That's all it was, y'all. So you gotta break down the esoteric meaning to that. See, he wasn't no bush speaking of that nigga was high. That's all it was. I'm trying to tell you. Let's go. Y'all sitting up here believing this now. And Moses was high as hell.
The desert environment becomes even more dry, right? There's just nowhere to feed or water your animals. They would come to Egypt looking for sustenance.
Now look at that.
Right? Egypt is a place where agriculture is consistent and steady for the most part. You know, so people come there. They come there looking for opportunities, right? They immigrate looking for opportunities. Is there a way in which Egypt is a crucible, perhaps even outside of the sort of settled city-state system that's, you know, reflected in the Amarna letters, for instance? I don't think you can entirely rule that out. And the idea that the Israelites of the Iron Age, the Israelites of the 6th century BCE and after, could have some traditions, some memory, some idea of, you know, a period that by then would have been, you know, several centuries behind them, is not out of the question. Or oral tradition can be very persistent. But it doesn't seem to be the case necessarily that these traditions are being transmitted, that these ideas, these histories are being transmitted verbatim the same way that, you know, like for instance, the Vedas, you know, are transmitted, or, you know, the Torah or the Quran are memorized and transmitted some kind of, you know, vagueness or mutability about these stories, because they never do quite seem to want to line up with any specific from archaeology or from Egyptian texts.
When is it going to line up, Anonymous Hebrew? When? You want to line some things up in this debate, and you're not going to be able to do it. I don't care what angle you come from. I don't care what time frame you try to come. Oh, it happened in the 18th dynasty or no, the 13th dynasty. No. You're gonna have to do something different, bro. Because we're gonna cut you from every angle. You see?
But the Shasu of Yahweh, I mean, there is an article.
I mean, they're just stealing everybody's stuff.
By Thomas Schneider, an Egyptologist, about a Book of the Dead. And in that Book of the Dead is a name that translated means something like "My Lord is the Shepherd of Yah." as though somebody
They
who
stole that from them.
And again, it's an uncertain, sort of a slightly uncertain translation, I think, and Schneider's careful in this art. It's a few years old now, but the idea that somebody from this context, right, of wherever Yah is, that people like that were moving into Egypt, were assimilating into Egyptian society on some level, and then might have encountered hostility in Egypt and left is, in no way out of the question. But notably, again, are we talking about Israelites?
Yeah.
Really don't think so. Because this is a Book of the Dead. It is a document that is designed to help empower you in the Egyptian afterlife, in the sight of the Egyptian gods.
Teach Dr. Maggie.
It is not a document.
Hey, I ain't ready for Dr. Maggie. I'm trying to tell you. She hurting y'all.
Document for henotheists who are committed to a Canaanite god.
I think when she came on over there on Garfield Channel, Kyle was lustering after this lady. I see how you looked at her that day, Kyle. You're a damn mess, Kyle.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you
Kyle fell in love with her mind. Him and Unc. I seen Unc looking too.
make of the claim that the Hebrew are the Hebrews and are therefore
now they want to be Habarus, Shashus. I mean, come on, put on your shoes. I mean, why y'all trying to steal their Shashus, Habarus? What else? I mean, this is getting out of hand, man. Look how she laughing at him.
Israelites.
Again, so the etymology of the word Hebrew is not clear. Nor is the etymology of the word Habiru, the Akkadian word that we know so well from the Amarna letters, but of course also occurs elsewhere.
You know what, man?
What the Habiru or Apiru are seems to be stateless people who are committed to making trouble, right, for the settled city-state.
Yeah, that's one thing I will connect with you is like y'all still making trouble all on the street corner with them damn Star Trek outfits. I mean, and then goddamn they ain't running around dressed with no goddamn leather plastic spikes on their arm with goddamn some leather chaps. I mean, this is. I mean, I'm tired of this, man. You know what? I done seen enough, man. We gonna continue to get back to this. I got an appointment to get to, man. But talking about the burning bush. Moses is just getting high as hell. That's all that meant. He got on some good cuss from Ethiopia. Man, y'all gotta learn how to decipher some of this, man. Shit. Okay, hold up, man. Let's get up out of here with Neo Love, man. Shit, we ain't got time for this morning. It's too early in the morning for this nonsense, man. Let's go, Neo, man. Yeah, they done pissed me off. Let's get it, Neo. Shit. Hold up, this showing. Yeah, man. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, man. But I'll be back in a couple hours.
Hey, let's run up a milli.
Run that shit then.
Run that shit then.
Can I see my glasses work like baby? Pop the shit up on that TV.
Michael from Zabadon, right there. That's he said he the Messiah. You see, you in his heaven, you gonna be dancing with him. Look at him.
Needy.
Oh, Christ.
You hating on the squad. My team was sick maneuvers. You see they waiting on the garden. You turn into Cooper. PIT, we been the squad. Stay strapped up like a trooper. Lions Den, that's all my God. I introduce you to. Don't be no groupie hanging around for no little clout. You get found the fuck out. Gonna bear your little faults. I was cold. I thought I fucking told you. Lying about some evil shit. That be that evil shit. Make you sneak a bitch. See the shit.
Get it, guys,
but I beat that lit. We was raised up on that bullshit, lemonade up in the pulpit. Misbehave, you get the bull with Papa. Raise some fucking bull pits. When we pop, we empty full clips. Nigga, you can't pull shit, you bullshit. I want the best out of your hate and then I go the sicker. I just stepped out on a snake and they crying me rivers. You ain't got no job, you ain't got no squad, it's just you and your bitch. That mean you full of shit. Nigga don't fuck with bitch. I think I seen him bust that left, flag that Civic down. He dropped some shit like that, I bet he peace sitting down. Wifey out of bounds, Lavelle ain't really putting it down. I can't blame her on the cool, she wanted batted down. Let her out to get and some stick the boys back in town. You fucked up when you set me up in the bad sound. O&E, I play for keeps, you get your dad found. With his throat where it shouldn't be, I'm fuck around. Neo love up in this bitch, she say she mother love. Nigga breathe between the lines, I am your fucking plug. Fucking feet, he feel too wrong. He can't come around. Last year he showed his ass, this year I lay my stud down.
Yeah, man, we gotta get up out of here, man. 2 days. You know what it is. Anon, you was, I got it. Get it, Christ, Michael. Yeah, man. Thank y'all for hanging out this morning, man. I'll be back later on. The HOK Gold is in the building. The people's champ, the most feared debater on this goddamn planet. That's right. Eminem 7K, undefeated. And we out. Love y'all.